Fídíò tẹ́ ṣe kò bá jẹ́ ní 5 years ago lẹ ṣe kẹ́ ṣe ní 2 years ago, problem tí yín nìyẹn, kò ṣe problem tiwa. Ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ upload fídíò yẹn fúnra yín lórí TikTok. Kí ni agenda tẹ́ fi lọ upload ẹ̀ lákọ̀ọ́kọ́? What is the agenda? Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ fi proof fáwọn tí wọ́n fún yín ní award tó ń pè ní Fúlàní? Because nígbà tẹ́ máa sọ nínú audio yín kan tí mo gbọ́, ẹ̀ náà àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lè fún yín ní award. No, àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá kọ́kọ́ ṣe Saudi Arabia ọ̀pá journalist wọn sí Turkey ni. Inú embassy lọ pa sí. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, inú embassy lọ pa sí. When I was going to the embassy, tẹ́ ẹ bá gbọ́ lẹ́ni, Igboho did not want me to go. Mo ní kò lè sí kankan tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Igboho ní tí kò bá ṣẹlẹ̀, ó máa dé UK within 12 hours. Ó pẹ́ jù, nǹkan á bàjẹ́ nígbà tí mo lọ sí embassy. Igboho ní kí n máa lọ, mo ní máa lọ. Ó ní tó bá mú mi sílẹ̀ ńbẹ̀ yẹn, onírẹ́rẹ́ máa rún. Ẹ yà fi tó kù sílẹ̀. Ẹ ní ṣoríire, ẹ rò bá ń ṣeré ni. Ṣé take care ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa ń sọ kábàkábà. Táwa kan bá gbé life wa sórí ìtagbédání, àfi ṣeré o. Tàbá wá ṣe program tá a sọ dé fẹ̀ níjọ́ mi, ilé kọ́là ń ṣe o. Yorùbá nation is serious gan. Wọ́n pààyàn méjì sínú ilé Igboho, wọ́n lé bàbá yẹn kúrò nínú ilé láti 3 years. Igboho lè má fẹ́ dánú ilé ẹ̀ mọ́. Mo dé sókà yẹn báyìí, mo sunkún sójú ni. Igboho asked me to give you the final warning. Gumi, Igboho says I should make it clear to you. Let us divide Nigeria peacefully without bloodshed. Igboho is not joking, neither Baba Akintoye and the rest of the millions of the Yoruba people that believe in self-determination. We can still be neighbors, but we cannot live under the same country. So he's telling me to give you this final warning that you should stop comparing the Yoruba people with the terrorist organization that you all have set up within the northern part of Nigeria, terrorizing millions of Nigerians, including the Yoruba people. He's asking me to give you warning. And this is not a threat, it is a warning. And we will come after every single one of you. We are not joking. We are not joking. He has asked me that you might want to go back to 2021 when 7 days ultimatum was given to one of your criminal gangs operating in Igboho. Even your mastermind Buhari could not stop him from making it to Igboho. You might be far away in Sokoto, but there's a way that we can deal with every single one of you. Let us divide Nigeria and stop comparing the Yoruba people as a terrorist organization. The Yorubas are not terrorists. We remain a peaceful citizen until the dissolution of Nigeria. We will not be pushed, but we are ready to act. Igboho says I should make it clear to you, Gumi, directly, that your words of comparing us to terrorists must stop. You know who the terrorists are. You know exactly where the terrorists are because you have visited them many times and evidence has pointed that you are one of the leaders of this terrorist organization. So comparing Professor Akintoye and the millions of the Yoruba people that believe in the right to self-determination as terrorists is calling for a serious consequences. Those consequences will not be something that we will be telling you on the social media. But those consequences are not a threat. We will do exactly what is needed if you continue to push the lines of calling the Yoruba people terrorist organization. We are calling Sheikh Gumi. Those of you that know him, tell him that I, Olayomi Koiki, the spokesman for Chief Sunday Igboho, have spoken on behalf of Igboho that he has given you the final warning. And for those Yorubas in the north, please start making things as quickly to return back home. Things could be very ugly. If you're living in the northern part of Nigeria as a Yoruba, you might start thinking now of moving back downwards because Sheikh Gumi is calling for war against the Yoruba people. We are not terrorist organization. We are those that are asking peacefully under the leadership of Professor Akintoye to exit Nigeria, but Gumi is pointing to us as criminal terrorist organization, and Igboho says we will not accept that. And he's using this medium. I will not be coming out again to give you a warning. We can assure you that. But let's read exactly the statement coming from Igboho tonight. Sunday Igboho issued a stamped warning to Sheikh Gumi, cautioning him against making a derogatory remarks about the Yoruba Nation movement. In a recent development that has sparked widespread attention, Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, aka Igboho Sha, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, has now issued a strong warning to Sheikh Gumi regarding his remarks and utterances against one of the most loyal, the most peaceful people in the southwest part of Nigeria, that are the Yorubas. Sheikh Gumi needs to understand that his remarks is making a push, and that push, we will continue to say it clearly. His utterances, his message, comparing the Yoruba people as the terrorists, knowing fully well those that are terrorists within Nigeria today, will not be accepted. The Nigerian cleric, known for his involvement in negotiating with terrorists, asserted that Nigeria will remain indivisible and dismiss the capacity of the Oduduwa or the Yoruba nation agitators to effect secession. In response, Chief Sunday Igboho, through his spokesman, Oloye, has reiterated the resolve of the Yoruba people to pursue self-determination, citing escalating insecurity, economic hardship, system of governance, failures as compelling reasons for this stance. Sheikh Gumi's assertions. Sheikh Gumi recently characterized those agitating for Biafra and Oduduwa Republic as akin to the Boko Haram insurgent, labeling them as miscreant and emphasizing that the majority of the Nigerian desire unity and peace within a single nation. He further argued that the participation of millions in the national elections indicate a collective preference for a united Nigeria. Gumi also pointed out that the prominent Yoruba and Igbo leaders have not endorsed the secessionist movement, suggesting that these agitations are driven by a minority with a destructive intention, destructive intention. This is Sunday Igboho's rebuttal. In a decisive response, Chief Sunday Igboho, through his spokesman, Oloye, has addressed Sheikh Gumi's remarks, underscoring the following point. Number one, unwavering commitment to Yoruba nation. Igboho emphasized that the movement for the Yoruba self-determination is resolute and has gained substantial support among the Yoruba populace. He asserted that the Yoruba nation is poised to establish itself as an independent entity reflecting the collective will of its people. Number two, escalating insecurity and economic hardship. Highlighting the deteriorating security situation, Chief Sunday Igboho lamented the incessant of killings of innocent farmers and villagers in Yoruba land. He has also pointed to the perceived economic challenges, including widespread hardship and unemployment, as factors fueling the desire of the self-governance. Number three, systematic governance failures. Igboho criticized the prevailing governance structure, citing bad governance and inadequate healthcare facilities as indicators of a failed system. He argued that these systematic issues have left the Yoruba people with no healthcare facilities as indicators of a failing system. He argued that these systematic issues have left the Yoruba people with no choice but to seek an alternative path that ensures their safety, prosperity, and cultural preservation. Number four, preservation of identity and culture. Emphasized the importance of cultural identity, Chief Sunday Igboho stated that the Yoruba people are determined to establish a nation where their heritage and traditions are respected and promoted. He asserted that the self-determination is essential for the safety and the well-being of the current and the future generations. Number five, inclusivity and immigration policies. Addressing concerns about interethnic marriages and relationships, Sunday Igboho assured that individuals from other regions married to Yoruba persons will be accommodated within the framework of the new nation. He proposed that such matters will be amicably managed through immigration policies, ensuring unity and harmony. Number six, advocacy for freedom and justice. Igboho decried the lack of freedom of speech and the constraint imposed by what he described as a fraudulent constitution. He emphasized that the pursuit of the self-determination is driven by the desire for justice, equity, and the protection of fundamental human rights. This is now also a stern warning to Sheikh Gumi. Concluding his statement, Chief Sunday Igboho issued a stern warning to Sheikh Gumi, cautioning him against making derogatory remarks about the Yoruba Nation movement. He emphasized that the aspirations of the Yoruba people are distinct and should not be conflated with other regional issues. Chief Igboho reiterated that the Yoruba Nation's quest for self-determination is unwavering and must be respected. In conclusion, the exchange between Sheikh Ahmed Gumi and Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho underscores the deepening discourse on Nigerians' unity and the growing calls for self-determination among various ethnic groups. As the nation grapples with challenges related to security, governance, and economic stability, it is imperative for all stakeholders to engage in a constructive dialogue that addresses the concerns of all communities. The pursuit of peace, justice, and equality remains central to the aspiration of the Nigerian people. Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, Trade Spokesman Oloye Koiki, coming today, the 19th of March, 2025. Let's break it down a little bit for the benefit of those that are listening to us. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ lọ fi gbogbo ọkàn yín sílẹ̀ ẹ má bẹ̀rù àwa lójú ọ̀nà a kì í ṣe ọ̀daràn a dẹ̀ kì í ṣe terrorist in tó bá wọn Gumi ni kò fẹnu rẹ̀ sọ àmọ́ ọjọ́ kan bọ̀ ni Ọlọ́run wí ọjọ́ kan yẹn kò ní pẹ́ mọ́ wọ́n ń ṣe gbogbo tó yẹ kó ṣe láti fi jẹ́ kí ìrìn àjò yẹn kó yá ni ó dẹ̀ máa yá kò ní pẹ́ mọ́ wọ́n á tún fi ń lọ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ṣe ń fi sẹ́yìn iṣẹ́ ti gbọ́ ohun tí Gumi sọ tó ń pe ìran ọmọ Yorùbá ní terrorist tó ń kọ̀ǹpìà wa pẹ̀lú àwọn Boko Haram níjọ́ wo lọmọ Yorùbá mú ọ̀bẹ ló bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gé orí ọmọ ènìyàn níjọ́ wo lọmọ Yorùbá mú àdá ló pààyàn kalẹ̀ sójú títì pé kọ́ má lè lọ sóko níjọ́ wo lọmọ Yorùbá jí èèyàn tó ti wá di pé wọ́n ń gba owó ribiti lọ́wọ́ àwọn onítọ̀hún ara àdí tí a ṣe ń sọ fẹ́yìn èèyàn wa pé àjọṣepọ̀ wa àti Nàìjíríà kò lè lọ mọ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ kó lọ. The time is now. It is right. There is no point living in denial. There is no point trying to save a country that is like a jungle where everything that Chief Igboho has highlighted is exactly what has been playing out in this contraction that the British created, knowing fully well that we are all different people and different culture, different background, yet we were forced to live together in this fake country that was never meant to be a country. So we're going to go back again on Koiki Media Studio in London, 19th of March 2025. It's coming up to exactly 9 minutes before 2200 hours where this transmission is coming from. Sunday Igboho is returning back what Gumi is saying regarding the Yoruba people, calling us all manners of names. So we're going to play back again what Gumi says, and we will start highlighting it one at a time. It is time that those that know him want him to stick his nose away from those that are campaigning and want to leave this jungle known as Nigeria. Nigeria is not a country. It was never a country until the criminal white colonial power decided for their own business purposes, changed the dynamic, the identity, the culture, and stole so much out of many of these different areas. And knowing that we cannot live as one, decided to go ahead and put us together, calling it One Nigeria. One Nigeria today is where a president has the power to pull down a democracy that has been played out and force a military 6 months, as we are seeing it happening in Rivers State. A country where people are being marginalized. Let's listen one more time to what the criminal Gumi Ahmed, a terrorist man, said about the Yoruba people, and then we come back to more of what Igboho said.
What do you call it? The issues now, what do you call them? You call them a house of planning or you call them Yorubas? Who's coming to divide us and say those people should go back to?
Is asking who's coming to divide us. Well, nobody's going to come to divide us when the right time is getting closer, and I mean getting closer. Baba Akintoye would do exactly what he has the power that the people has given him, that are the Yoruba, to do in terms of making what is known as a Yoruba country. That is not something that we are waiting for America, the international community, because the United Nations does not give country. But we have every right at the appropriate time to make our country known to the international community, and that is going to happen very soon by the God grace, by the power of the will of the Yoruba people that we have given to Professor Akintoye. We would have no choice than to make that declaration at the appropriate time. It will not be long anymore, and I can assure the Yoruba people to remain firm and focused from all manners of distractions that is going around in Nigeria. Our problem is got nothing to do with the distraction. If Tinubu wants to take over Rivers State, that is his own problem. Rivers State is not Ogun State. Rivers State is not Yoruba land. It's not Southwest. When the time is right, the people around that area will fight back for their right. Our problem is not in Rivers State. All our problem is within the Yoruba land, where we are requesting that we go out of Nigeria. So we pray that Tinubu continue to do everything upside down that will drag and bring Nigeria to an end before the end of his tenure. Let's go back and listen more.
If you go to Lagos, if you go to okay, I usually give an example. General Murtala Mohammed, the man from Kano, the head of state that was assassinated by Dinka. His wife is a Yoruba woman. So where do you want his children to go?
Well, Igboho has already answered that in the press release tonight. Gumi is asking, like many of you do ask, what happened to my friend that got married to the Hausa? What happened to those that are married to Igbo? What married to those that are married to whoever they want to marry to, and they're living with children? Well, Igboho was able to give us an answer to that in the discussion that we just gave you tonight. And that is coming under the number 5. Let me explain how that works. I live in this country 25 years plus. If I've married a white woman, I would have gone through immigration. Does not mean that I don't want to keep my country. I can still keep my country, but you can still become a nationality of a new country due to marriage. That means that I can apply for the British nationality on the basis that I married to a white woman. The same thing goes to many Nigerians that have married to people that are not Nigerians, whether in Germany, in Finland. So when the argument about if Nigeria breaks away, how do we manage those that are married each other? That is the most easiest part. You will go through the immigration. So those of us that are fully married, beautiful marriage, whether you marry the Hausa, whether you marry the Igbo, whether you marry the Ijo, do not be scared. Do not be worried. Do not let people like Gumi, a terrorist, confuse you that because you have married out of your own ethnic indigenous people, that you will be thrown away out of a new country like the Yoruba country. You will never be. You would even be much better to live in a country where you will be respected. You'll be given the real reason why the marriage works. Because right now, many marriages of such is not even well protected under the criminal constitution, as the power drunk man Tinubu is using right now, using the power of a fake constitution to dissolve an elected government. Whether the government was a rigged one, Tinubu also was a rigged election during the election that just passed. So it does not matter what is playing out in Rivers State. It did not have what it takes to have uphold what people voted for. But yet, this is part of the reason why Nigeria can never be won. So I hope those of you in Rivers State, Ijo River Rhine, will continue to do whatever is needed, whatever you can do to protect your identity. We have told many of you, Nigeria can never be won. And I'm happy that Tinubu is dealing with many of you that refuse to allow Nigeria to break. Tinubu will be the last president to govern this shit old jungle called Nigeria. So when Gumi is talking about marriage, intermarriage, Igboho says that is one of the most easiest things. Let's look at number 5. Inclusivity and immigration policies. Addressing concerns about intermarriage, interethnic marriages and relationships. Chief Sunday Igboho assured that individuals from other regions that are married to Yoruba persons will be accommodated within the framework of the new nation. Let me also go back again. When the EU dissolved, when UK left EU rather in 2016, Many of those that still wants to live here under the European new rules, we're living here. Even though UK is no longer part of the EU, but many of those that married an European citizen still have the right to live in the UK. So that is not something that you should be scared of. That is not something that you should be concerned about. What you should be concerned about is, what have you gained as a Yoruba man that married a Igbo woman in a country where there is no love, there's no unity? You realize that when you live as a new country, your fundamental right will be respected, your welfare will be taken care of, your security will be taken care of, and even your identity will be preserved, regardless of whether you are from Yoruba land. But right now, all that is not working. So Igboho stated clearly at number 5, inclusivity and immigration policies, addressing concerns about interethnic marriages and relationships. Igboho assured that individuals from other regions married to Yoruba persons will be accommodated within the framework of the new nation. He proposed that such matters will be amicably managed through immigration policies, ensuring unity and harmony. You will not have any reason to be scared or worried that you are not in Nigeria again. Let's go further and listen to a terrorist, Gumi, in this video that we're analyzing.
If the nation is divided, are they going to be with the Yorubas or are they going to be with the Hausas in the north? Look, let's forget this useless youth. They are no more different from this.
Well, we are not useless youth, because the criminal ones that have run Nigerian dry were in their youth. Babangida was a criminal. They were in their youth when they were running Nigeria. They run it dry. Buhari was a criminal Fulani man. He ran it dry. Abacha in his youth run it dry. Every single one of them that ruined Nigeria were in their youth. We are no longer in our youth. We are adult. An adult knows what is right for them. Nigeria is not right for the Yoruba people, and we have spoken as adults that we do not want to have anything to do with Nigeria again. Never again. We want to leave Nigeria, and we will do so by the will and the power of the Yoruba people that have spoken under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye. So calling us miscreant makes nothing call that they are the miscreant, because the miscreant are the ones that have disturbed us, using all manners of terrorism to create threat, havoc, and evil to the indigenous people, whether they are the Hausas that they've taken out or those agenda to remove us and force Islam on everybody within the Southwest will not be tolerated. Nigeria is at the verge of breakup, and the breakup is moving very fast, and we pray it happen before the end of this year.
These people are agitating for Akududwa and Biafra or Ariwa, just Boko Haram. They're all the same group of people.
You cannot compare us as the same people, because for the 4 years of this movement, we've never attacked any security personnel. We've never dressed as a military personnel to disguise on the highway and kidnap innocent people. As I speak to you today, I've received another message from one of our listeners in Canada. His friend was kidnapped in Kogi State on Sunday, this Sunday. We can no longer live in a country where we live in fear. We can no longer live in a country where many people continue to live as if we are not citizens. Nigeria is not working, and we are hoping that Tinubu will now come into the conclusion and divide Nigeria. If not, Nigeria will be worse placed than the Yugoslavia. So Gumi can continue to compare us with terrorists, but right deep in his heart, he knows that the real terrorists are himself, enforcing that terrorism against innocent Nigerians, and that will not be accepted. And that's the reason why we are sending the message back. And there will never be another new message. This is the final warning.
Majority of Nigerians wants to stay Nigeria.
You're a liar. Majority of Nigerians doesn't want to stay together. We want to have our separate countries. We can be great neighbors. We can be great neighbors with the Hausa people. They are very good people. We can be great neighbors with the Ijaw people, because right now the Ijaw are being marginalized, as we can see. How can a place that has one of the beautiful crude oil that can be sold and turn things around are the people living under the average poverty level today? You go to all the River Rhine. We saw how the mess that the international community, we knew how Abacha killed Ken Saro-Wiwa. We cannot continue to live in denial. The Ijaw people can be less than 1 million. I'm sure they are more than enough to have a country. There are countries that are not even up to 2 million. There are countries that are not up to 500,000. And they can transform their land to the top of any country of their desire. But right now, they are being marginalized, and they can no longer live in this shithole country. But they all have to speak on their behalf. I can't speak on their behalf. But in terms of the Yoruba people have done so much. But our so much is not shooting out in this contraction. And like I said, we will do whatever it takes and whatever it takes to pull out of Nigeria. And we are not joking about that. Nigeria is at the verge of breakup. We hope we can dialogue it out, but we have every right to do whatever we want to do at the appropriate time. We don't need to announce that on the social media. So whatever Gumi is saying, he needs to go back and ask why terrorism is operating across Nigeria so that they can use that to pin down the indigenous people, steal their land, steal their resources, and create fear. And today, in Akure, 4 more Yoruba people were killed, or I believe kidnapped, not killed. I don't know whether, I think about 4 of them were killed. 4 have now also been missing. About 8 people today in Akure. 2 weeks ago, Saturday, 26 people were killed. This is an occurrence that is happening on a daily basis. We heard that there's many camps across the Yoruba land today of full-blown weapon, RPG, and many, because we know that, because evidence pointed out many times from experts that have continued to tell the Nigerians that we need now to review whether we want to stay together. Nigeria is already compromised. Nigeria cannot look after every indigenous people, and we are now demanding that President Tinubu divide Nigeria. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu divide Nigeria. If not, you might also end up at the International Criminal Court for crime against humanity. Let's go back to the criminal Gumi and hear more from him.
And if they're in doubt, let's make a referendum. I can make a social...
Well, they're not going to make a referendum. And it's comparing that the people that are going to vote, a vote that people are intimidated, a vote that people are not allowed to cast their vote. Even the Yoruba people we saw in the last election were beaten, thinking that they were Igbos. So you cannot use that to gauge that people that are market women, that Tinubu's daughter continue to tell them if they don't go and vote, they will take them out of the market. These are women that doesn't want to vote, but they have no choice. That cannot be used as a gauge that people that have wanted to vote are the ones that still want to keep Nigeria together. We know how the politicians have done in the past and how they continue to do. We saw the criminal son of the president using rise to deceive the northerners for another 2027 votes. That cannot be accepted. That is not a genuine vote. People must be allowed to vote out of their choice. And if people are allowed to vote out of their choice, Tinubu will never be the president, because we know that. But the fact that, the way the system is running, it's a criminal system. INEC is a criminal system. So I pity when, Nigerians think that, by using their PVC, you can get the actual, voting pattern and you can get whoever you want in there. No, election has always been rigged. The British rigged the first election in 1959 against Babawolawo. Until date, nothing has changed. So Britain is one of the biggest criminals that have used that to train the rest of the criminals to rig election, create many coups, and many Nigerians have never tasted a real election, whether in the local government or the state government or the state governor's election or the presidential election. 3 of these elections has never since 1999 been a pure election. It has been an election of intimidation. It has been an election of weaponry of thugs being used to kill men. We saw election ballot boxes that have been stolen by police officers, burnt down in Oshodi, in different parts of Nigeria. You can call that an election. So if anybody is saying that you've ever had elections since 1999, you must be living in a different part of the world.
Sure. Look at the election. When the election in Nigeria, millions of votes from all this.
Again, you cannot use that to eye mark that those that are voting truly wants to remain inside the one Nigeria. We know that that is a fraud. Election in Nigeria has always been a fraud, and it will remain so. So this is the reason why we are saying that we do not want to be part of Nigeria.
States, PDP or APC states will get more.
Well, there's no difference between PDP and APC. We saw El Rufai just left APC, a terrorist shot Mandeville. All these are criminals, and everybody knows that. So election in Nigeria is not in an honest. You saw election in the UK last year, July. I went to vote. There was nobody intimidating me. I voted the pattern of who I wanted to vote for, and I voted those that I want to be in power so that we can chase away the next one. If the election comes again next year, it might be the other way around. But right now, I voted and we're able to chase away the Conservative Party. I was not beaten at the ballot box. My ballot box were not stolen. They were not destroyed. Should you continue to vote every 4 years in Nigeria, there will be more deaths. You will not get the right person in. Criminals will become the politicians and they will intimidate you, and they will do whatever they can do. Even if they have to kill you, they will do so. And we know many people died since 1999 hoping that they can get an election. Even the freest election, we saw how that was turned around and thrown into the dustbin. 32 years, the criminal man called himself Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida is now coming out apologizing to Nigerians to forgive him for destroying the democracy of 1993. Even if Abiola was never going to be the right man as at the time, he won the election. He was voted for by the Igbos, by the Yoruba. Every Nigerian voted for him. So you will never, never, never. So Nigeria is now at the verge of breakup, and we hope President Bola Tinubu is getting the message. There will be more tension, and there will be more activities of death. What happened in Abuja tonight is not just a mere thing that you can think of. They might tell you it's a CNG gas explosion. That is another terrorist explosion, because we know that terrorists use all manners of inflammable and everything to attack innocent Nigeria. May the souls of those that have died in Abuja tonight rest in peace. But you must hold Tinubu accountable for every death that continues to occur in Nigeria.
Millions of votes means Nigerians are ready to stay in a corporate Nigeria.
We don't want to stay in a corporate Nigeria because Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria cannot be a country, and it will never be a country. And we are hoping that many Nigerians will now come out of their say and stop talking about saving a country called Nigeria. You're better off to have a new country where you can hold your politicians accountable. You can have a better future. But if you continue to push the agenda of one Nigeria, well, the question is, who truly are Nigerians? Because we know that Nigeria doesn't have a language. Nigeria doesn't have any land. Nigeria is of many nations. So when Gumi is talking about one Nigeria, we should again ask him, where did he get such information? Because we know that the agenda of the British or Britain has always been to keep us together, as it was said in this particular discussion after Jonathan left power. But one thing is, we will remind many Nigerians that if you like, agree now that there should not be any election again. We should be discussing how we need to break Nigeria, divide Nigeria, let everybody go their separate ways. But if you're thinking that because you love a Yoruba man, you want an Igbo man to be the president, the Hausa, the Fulani, because there's a difference between Hausa and Fulani, what you will continue to get is criminal politicians like this man speaking some years back.
Senator Manto, can I just quickly clarify? Did I hear you say that you helped rig elections before now?
Let me tell you one thing. Yes, I did, because I'm now confessing the truth. Look, what do I mean? I don't have to go and change election, but you know, when you provide money, you give money to INEC boys to help you if they see any chance that they should favor you. You provide money to the security. All our elections in the past, I've been in this game for about 40 years.
These are the kind of election that you have been running. He has been in the game for 40 years. What is the reason why he has turned around to become a repentant politicians? All your politicians are criminals, including the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are all criminals, and criminals will deceive with every means, as we saw Sheikh Tinubu spreading rice to the Fulani people in the north, because the Yoruba people that will take such rice will probably be stupid Yoruba people, because after 4 years, there will be no school fees, there will be no hospital. You'll continue to dream of having a quality healthcare, but you can never get it because you've sold yourself for 4 years for a plate of rice.
I tell you, each time, it's not necessarily when I'm contesting election, but when my party sponsors a candidate, I would like that candidate to win election. And what we used to do before, we make provision for INEC, we make provision for security, we make provision for even agents of other parties, you know, so that they will not, you know, raise any objection to whatever we're able to get. So whether I rig myself or not, by providing those resources, financial inducement to the officials, I am rigging election.
Do you think that we can diminish or remove that influence as 2019 approaches?
I believe so, because you see, if people are born again like me and they refuse to...
The question is, this was in 2019. We are now in 2025. Was the last election, for those of you listening, was the last election an honest election? Or was it just the same? Criminal politicians using all manners, thuggery, money, giving food, giving Indomie noodles, giving bicycle, telling people that things will be done. And yet, since 2019, it has even gone worse.
We, the players.
Who are the players? Tinubu, Atiku, El-Rufai, every single one of them the players, from your governors to the local government. 774 local government is a shit hole as anything called jungle. Nothing is working in all the local government, and it remains so because Nigeria is not honest to its citizens. It's a crime country, it's a crime scene, and whatever is a crime scene, We need to look at every nit of it, which is exactly why the Yoruba people, under the leadership of Professor Akintoye, have stated clearly that we cannot live in such country because it's having a big toll on us. So when we come at number 6 or number 3, systematic governance failures, rather than the current administration to look at the issues affecting innocent Nigerians across board, is more worried about 2027. That means governance stopped in 2025. There's 2 more years to the end of the party that is currently in government, but they're already putting out their vehicles. They're already sharing rice in the north as his son continues to cry his head out that we are calling his father. Your father will be called on a daily basis because we know the game of 2027 is what you're playing at. Because I'm not sure why you're going to the north to deceive the northerners again that your dad should be voted for, knowing fully well that your dad failed in the north because Nigeria is not one country. So when we look at number 3 of the response of Chief Sunday Igboho through myself, systematic governance failures. Igboho criticized the prevailing governance structure, citing bad governance. When people rig themselves in, you're never going to gain anything out of it. But their criminal international friends like the Shagoris and the criminals around the world will continue to become more powerful within a system of who belongs to us. That can no longer be tolerated. The Yoruba land must have a system that works for you, for me, regardless of your status. That's exactly how it is operated in the European country and the United Kingdom where I have lived. But in Nigeria, you cannot hold them accountable because criminals doesn't want you to hold them accountable. And if you dare say anything, your life will be at risk. So number 3, systematic governance failures. Igboho criticized the prevailing governance structure, citing bad governance and the inadequate healthcare facilities as indicator of a failing system. Not just healthcare, security, welfare, education, name it. None of these have worked in 25 years since we were told we return back to democracy. He argued that these systematic issues have left we, the Yoruba people, with no choice. We don't have any choice. Our choice is not Tinubu for 2027 because it's a crime scene. Our choice has never been for Tinubu to have been the president, but he decided because of his selfish interest, not because of the interest of those of the Yoruba people, because many Yoruba people are crying every day around Yoruba land. They can't go to their farm because terrorists are operating there. They can't have 3 square meals. They don't have good education. They don't have good health care. They cannot even leave Nigeria because many of them are being rejected, not because of anything. Many European citizens move around without being rejected to travel to any country of their choice, but because as a Nigerian, there's already a stigma. Even if you're going on a genuine visit, your visa will still be rejected. That can no longer be tolerated. And all these are issues that we say there's no more choice. The only choice now is the Yoruba self-determination, and that would happen in our lifetime. And that is exactly what we are pushing towards in the last 4 going to 5 years. But to seek an alternative path that ensures that their safety, prosperity, and cultural preservation, all these matters a lot. So when you listen to these criminal gangs, as he's saying, many of the politicians failed to change since 2019.
Unless we give before somebody will take, right? So don't give, and then we'll not get a taker. We'll not get a taker. Why? You don't even ask me why am I thinking this way. Look, I am tired of being seen as a criminal in the streets of the world because we are a Nigerian. You know, you assume that everybody is an innocent human being until it's proven otherwise. But once you are outside this country with a green passport and they say you are a Nigerian, even if you are a pastor or you are an imam, they will assume that you are criminally minded or you have criminal tendencies.
Why should we be in a country where we are all targeted as criminals when we can have a Yoruba country, a Biafra country, a Ijaw country with new passport? Nobody then identify you anymore as a criminal, apart from if your country has indicated that you're a criminal and then you're already being on the list of those that they're looking for and you can be stopped. So there are criminals around the world, but people recognize them as the people, not as we that has more than too many called one country. Nigeria is not a one country, and it is high time that many Nigerians wake up from their slumber and stop talking about one Nigeria. Nigeria was not there when the Yoruba people have been living on that land for thousands of years. If we have to fight to take it back, we will do so. But before we fight, we will use all the means of our intellectual media to prepare you, because the night vigil is getting closer, and I hope many of you are preparing for the night vigil because it's going to get closer. Very, very close, I can assure you. The announcement of the night vigil will come very, very soon.
That must change.
Let's leave that criminal politicians because they're all the same. But let's now go back to listen more to the criminal terrorist calling himself Gumi, the head of terrorists in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, because we saw Buhari called all the Fulani around the southwest to come back to where Allah has given them the land. Allah has given them the land. I'm going to pause on that for now because I want to go quickly because of my time constraint. I'm moving with time tonight. This is Koiki Media, bringing the work closer to your doorstep. Let me pick it from where Ibitimotife Munisin. Many people have come out and say, Imam Yoruba, a man that we thought that was very honest with us, that we thought was loyal to Babakitoye and Igboho, I can categorically say that he is not honest. Chief Imam, Chief Imam Ile Yoruba, is not an honest man for the Yoruba cause. And I dare, if it comes out, to challenge me tomorrow as he has done with other media, he dare not. As of one way, Taba respect one. I respect one based on interrupt. Mo sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Chief Imam Ilorin. Olayomi Koiki ni mo ń jẹ́. Koiki Media. Ìní ní 19 March 2025. Kíyàn kan máa sọ fún wa pé ká máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Chief Imam. Kíyàn kan máa sọ pé mọ Chief Imam tó àwa. Lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kí n kọ́kọ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn. Kí ni ìdí tí wọ́n ṣe dé Kútọ́nù láti lọ kí Babakitoye nígbà tí ìyàwó Babakitoye kú? That is number one. Àkọ́kọ́ nìyẹn. Kí ni reason tí ìyàwó Babakitoye kú ní December 25, 2024? Wọ́n sì ìyàwó wọn ní February this year. Wọ́n lè dé Kútọ́nù láti lọ kí Babakitoye. Ṣé wọ́n tún lè wá sí Èkìtì láti wá bá wọn sin òkú? Kí ni ìdí? Ìyẹn number one. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n fi ọ̀wọ̀ fún Babakitoye pé àwọn ni leader wa àbáwọn làwọn tó ń claim pé àwọn ni leader gẹ́gẹ́ bí Yorùbá nítorí pé Babakitoye wà lẹ́yìn odi? Tí Babakitoye bá wà lẹ́yìn odi, ṣé leader méjì la máa ní? À ń pè yín ní Chief Imam, ẹ lè tún máa pera yín ní national leader, because national leader means that you are the one in charge. That means pé ẹ ti gbóyè lọ́wọ́ Babakitoye nìyẹn. Ǹjẹ́ yín fi respect fún Babakitoye? Ẹ wá ń wá respect lọ́dọ̀ tiwa nísìn. Ǹjẹ́ yín respect Babakitoye? Ǹjẹ́ yín fún Babakitoye ní ọ̀wọ̀ tó yẹ kẹ́ fún wọn? Torí tó bá pè yín fún Babakitoye ní ọ̀wọ̀ tẹ́ fún wọn ni àwọ̀ ni máa jáde nísìn láti máa pè yín sí ẹni ẹ ṣe fídíò tẹ́ ṣe kò bá jẹ́ ní 5 years ago lẹ ṣe kẹ́ ṣe ní 2 years ago. Problem tí yín nìyẹn, kò ṣe problem tiwa. Ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ upload fídíò yẹn fúnra yín lórí TikTok. Kí ni agenda tẹ́ fi lọ upload ẹ̀ lákọ̀ọ́kọ́? What is the agenda? Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ fi prove fáwọn tí wọ́n fún yín ní award tó ń pè ní Fulani? Because nígbà tẹ́ máa sọ nínú audio yín kan tí mo gbọ́, ẹ̀ ní àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lè fún yín ní award. No, àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá kọ́kọ́ ló fún yín ní award. Ìgbìrà bá fún yín ní award ó yàtọ̀ sí Arẹwà. Àwọn Fulani ló fún yín ní award. Whether you want to argue with us or not, that is your own problem. Kò ṣe problem tèmi. Ẹ lè ṣe kọ́kọ́ fún any one of us. Ẹ wò wá dáadáa. Ẹ lè ṣe ṣe gbáì fún ìkọ̀kan nu wa. Kò sí ìkọ̀kan tẹ́ lè ṣe fún wa. Torí pé ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ lè sọ fún wa honestly kí ni ìdí tí fídíò tó wà lọ́wọ́ yín fún 5 years. Torí ẹ ń sọ pé 5 years lẹ ti ṣe ìlọ́tí fún ilé award yẹn àbí 4 years. Ẹ wá kọ́kọ́ tó gbé fídíò yẹn padà. Ìyẹn àkọ́kọ́. Let's first play out. Àwọn wo náà pè ní Arẹwà? Let me first prove who Arewa are to those of you that don't know. I don't think some of you know àwọn tó ń pè ní Arewa, because àwọn Arewa ló fún yín ní award. Àwọn wo ni wọ́n pè ní Arewa? Arewa is an Hausa word meaning the north. Àwọn tó ń gbé ní Òkè Ọya kò ń ṣe ní ìsàlẹ̀. So tẹ́ bá gba award, tẹ́ dẹ̀ argue pé àwọn tó fún yín ní award yẹn ọmọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n, but Arewa ni wọ́n. Arẹwà ò dẹ̀ ń ṣe èdè ọmọ Yorùbá, èdè Haúsá ni, èdè Haúsá Fúlàní. Torí pé kò sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ Haúsá mọ́, Haúsá ti tán, kò sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ Haúsá mọ́. Everybody knows that. Wọ́n ti lé gbogbo Haúsá lọ dànù. So tẹ́ bá wá ní wọ́n fún yín ní award, àwọn Fúlàní gbé award lé yín lọ́wọ́ tó ń pè ní Arẹwà. The Arẹwà, according to the information here, says is the Hausa word meaning the north or the northerners. Wọ́n ní àwọn southerners, wọ́n sọ pé àwọn Yorùbá. Yorùbá kọ́ ló fún yín ní award. And it is used to refer to the northern Nigeria. That means pé àwọn tó wà ní north lóòótọ́ àmọ̀ pé Kwara ìdajì wọn ọmọ Haúsá Fúlàní ni wọ́n, àbí Fúlàní rather, torí kò sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ Haúsá. But fún psyche àwa ẹ lè da brain wa rú. Tẹ́ bá fẹ́ máa da brain àwọn tó wà nílé rú, àwa wà educated. Ìlú òyìnbó làwa gbé. a lè analyse gbogbo nǹkan eléyìí ṣe pé à ń bá yín à ń bú yín náà à ń béèrè ọ̀rọ̀ lọ́wọ́ yín ni ẹ̀rẹ̀ tí à ń sá ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn fídíò tẹ́ ṣe yẹn kò tí ì clear mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ mú bọ̀ lẹ́yẹ kankan ni ẹ̀yin lẹ fọwọ́ ara yín upload ẹ̀ èmi kọ́ mo bá yín upload ẹ̀ ṣé wọ́n force yín upload ẹ̀ ni ṣó ní àdéhùn tẹ́jọ́ ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn yẹn lẹ ṣe lọ upload ẹ̀ ni so gbogbo àwọ́ọ̀dì tẹ́ ti gbà rí ẹ̀rí kankan upload èyí táwọn arẹwà fún yín ìyẹn lẹ wá lọ upload ní die minute tá à ń sọ pé a fẹ́ kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà ẹ mú yẹn dání. It is also the name of the Nigerian Queers Political and Social Cultural Association, the Arewa Consultative Forum. Ẹ mú yẹn dání. Now, tá bá sọ pé àwọn Arewa nínú Nàìjíríà, àwọn wo ló ń pè ní Arewa nínú Nàìjíríà? Àti pé ipa wo làwọn kó? Let's give you some of the latest updates from just new search. Northern Coalition protest plan against Akpabio irresponsible. Arewa resistance group. Àwọn Arewa ń push pé iṣẹ́ Akpabio gbọ́dọ̀ kúrò ní Senate pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ Natasha tó ń lọ ẹ̀kọ́ mú yẹn dání. Resign and save Nigerians image. Arewa youth. Ṣé èyí tí wàá jẹ́ agbẹnusọ fáwọn Arewa? Then tó bá ní èèyàn wọ́n fi yín jẹ patron. Let's look at the meaning of patron online quickly. Tó bá sọ pé patron, if somebody is told that you are a patron because you have become their patron, kí lẹjọ fà, kí lẹjọ gbé, kí làdéhùn tẹjọ sọ tó fi ń ṣe patron, because we know what it means when people are called patron. What does the word patron? A person chosen, named or honored as a special guardian, protector or supporter. You are a supporter of Arewa. Àìtí sọ kí ni Arewa ní ṣe pẹ̀lú Yorùbá, akọ̀ṣe ń sọ pé Arewa àìtí mú kí ni àjọṣepọ̀ Arewa àti Yorùbá, ṣe àjọṣepọ̀ tó dán mọ́rán ni. Tẹ́ bá bá Yorùbá ṣe tó wá láti other part of Southwest, kódà bó jẹ́ Yorùbá tó ń gbé ní Sokoto ló bá fún yín láwọ́ọ̀dù tó jẹ́ pọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ni wọ́n, àmà ní Yorùbá ni wọ́n, but àwọn tó fún yín ní àwọ́ọ̀dù yìí àwọn Fúlàní ni wọ́n. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ lè jáde kẹ́tí ẹ̀ tí defend yẹn ẹ̀yin attack àwọn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ sọ pé wọ́n pè yín síta bí ọmọ ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. Ìbéèrè tèmi bí ní sí ni pé lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ ǹjẹ́ yìí fi ọ̀wọ̀ fún bàbá Kítóyè? Ìjọ́ wo gan lẹ́yìn ti rí bàbá Kítóyè gbẹ̀yìn? Ìjọ́ wo lẹ́yìn ti lọ sí Kútọ́nù pé kẹtẹ lọ rí bàbá Kítóyè kẹ lọ yọjú sí bàbá Kítóyè whether ẹ̀rọ wo mọ́tò àbẹ́ ẹ̀rọ wo mọ́tò, because at least bàbá tèmi wà ní Kútọ́nù mo mọ iye èèyàn Jọjá Akínọlá wá sí Kútọ́nù kò ń ṣe méjì kò ń ṣe mẹ́ta, mo dẹ̀ rò pé wọ́n fún lówó mọ́tò. Kódà ó wá níjọ́ kan ìpàdé tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe bàbá Kítóyè láti sọ fún kó máa padà wá ní ó tún padà wá. Èmi wà ní Kútọ́nù nígbà tó ṣẹlẹ̀ kò ṣe pọ́ sọ fún mi kéèyàn travel láti odindi Èkó wá sí Kútọ́nù, nǹkan tó fi wá ṣe kò lè rí ṣe wọ́n tún ní kó padà wá, kò bá bàbá Kítóyè jiyàn ó padà wá. Ìjọ́ wo ni chief máàmù Ìlọrin ìjọ́ ẹni kọ́ ṣe fídíò àwọn ìbéèrè tí mò ń bi wọ́n yìí wọ́n bá rọ̀ bá wa answer ẹ̀. Níjọ́ wo lè níkẹ́rí Ìgbòho, níjọ́ wo lè rí bàbá Kítóyè gbẹ̀yìn? Ǹjẹ́ bá bàbá Kítóyè sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà tí ìyàwó wọn kú? Then irú ibo lẹ́yìn wà nígbà tí wọ́n ń ṣe òkú? Ṣé ẹ travel ni, ṣe lọ Mẹ́kà ni, ṣe lọ múra ni, ṣe ẹ̀sìn lé ni? Because a mọ̀ pé lọ sí party nígbà tí Gani Adams ṣe birthday party. So tí bàbá Kítóyè tí ìyàwó wọn kú, tí bàbá Kítóyè dẹ̀ wá sí Kútọ́ tó gbéra láti Kútọ́nù, èmi tẹ̀lé bàbá Kítóyè dé Èkìtì, èmi àti bàbá Kítóyè àjọ dé Èkìtì ni àlejò padà sí Kútọ́nù ni. So kí ló wá dé tẹ̀yìn náà lè wá láti Ìlọrin àkókò tí sínú àwẹ̀ nígbà yẹn tábà ní pé àwẹ̀ ló dé yìí mọ́lẹ̀ àbẹ̀wò anú alúwà ni? Ṣé ẹ ṣọ́ pé ẹ wà honest pẹ̀lú bàbá Kítóyè? Ní kẹ́ wà honest pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ní tó bá wọn olúkálukú ló lè ṣe. Èèyàn lè deceive anybody. Gbogbo ẹni gbogbo ẹni tó bá deceive wa nínú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tá à ń ṣe yìí tá à ń ṣe Yorùbá nation yìí kò bá jẹ́ mi Ọláyọmí Kóìkì ni mo bá ń deceive ọmọ Yorùbá. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbè mí, ó gbọ́dọ̀ yọ mí ṣubú ni, including ẹ̀yin náà ó gbọ́dọ̀ yọ ẹ̀yin náà ṣubú ni, torí pé ìtagbédání ìtò wúwo gan ni kò ń ṣeré rárá. Táwọn kan bá fi ń ṣeré èmi ò fi ṣeré. Ó bẹ́tà kí èèyàn má darapọ̀ mọ́ wa kó máa wò wá lọ́nkán kó máa bú wa kó máa sọ̀rọ̀ sí wa, but ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń jẹ nínú ẹ̀ torí gbogbo àlà ń jẹ nínú ẹ̀, ìyẹn ò lè máa ṣe kó má jẹ nínú ẹ̀ lóòótọ́, but kẹ́ wá jẹ nínú ẹ̀ yẹn kẹ́ wá fẹ́ fi deceive wa yẹn, ìyẹn là fẹ́ gbọ́. Because at the end of the day ẹ̀ náà ń ṣe Yorùbá nation, ẹni tó jẹ́ leader wa ní communication kankan pẹ̀lú ẹ̀, ẹ̀yin dẹ̀ ń claim leader Yorùbá nínú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ẹ̀ ń bá Ọbásanjọ́ sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ̀ ń bá gbogbo wọn sọ̀rọ̀, arán yín ṣẹ́ ni. Ọbásanjọ́ lórí burúkú bàbá òfò àbẹ́ ti gbàgbé ní ṣẹ́jọ́ àfi sọ̀rọ̀. Ọbásanjọ́ ló lọ sí Benin Republic ló ní kó má fi Ìgbòho sílẹ̀. Ọbásanjọ́ lọ sí Benin Republic lẹ́ẹ̀mẹ́ta ó sọ fún President Patrick Talon pé kó má fi Ìgbòho sílẹ̀. Ọbásanjọ́ ilẹ̀ yìí wà ló ń bá ṣe meeting ta ló rán yín iṣẹ́ tàbẹ̀ yín iṣẹ́ ni àbẹ̀mọ̀ náà ẹ̀gbọ́ náà because leader kan ní ẹ̀ lè sọ pé ẹ̀gbọ́ ẹ wà wí ẹ̀ pé Ọbásanjọ́ lọ sí Benin Republic ó sọ fún Talon pé kò gbọdọ̀ fi Ìgbòho sílẹ̀. Ọbásanjọ́ ilẹ̀ wa ló ń bá ṣe ìpàdé kílẹ̀ jọ́ ṣe pẹ̀lú Ọbásanjọ́ náà ò ṣe wọ́n ní Yorùbá ness Nigeria ness lòun ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ló máa kú sí níbi tó ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ Nigeria ness yẹn Yorùbá nation lẹ́ẹ̀ máa jáde láyé níṣojú ayé ẹ̀ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ̀ lọ múra sílẹ̀ tó bá fẹ́ dogun kó dogun ilẹ̀ Yorùbá máa dá dúró tó bá máa di ogun kó di ogun ilẹ̀ Yorùbá máa dá dúró torí kò sẹ́ni kankan tó máa dá wa dúró inú ọdún yìí dẹ́ni kólúkálukú lọ múra sílẹ̀ ẹ lọ dira dáadáa. Ìbéèrè mo ṣì bí yín ẹ jẹ́ ká padà ẹ jẹ́ ká wo picture tí ẹni ẹ̀yà tó gbé fún yín ṣé nígbà tó ń gbé picture fún yín ẹ̀yin ò dáyàn mọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá tẹ̀ dáyàn mọ̀ bóyá torí pé ẹ̀ mọ ẹni tí ó wà nínú picture yẹn ẹ̀yin ò dẹ̀ lè béèrè wọ́n ṣe gbé picture tẹ̀yìn sínú frame yẹn kó gbé fún yín ó ṣe jẹ́ picture Amadu Bello lọ gbé sínú picture fẹ́yìn ó ṣe jẹ́ picture Amadu Bello ṣẹ́mi tó ń pè lámàdù Bello ṣá ṣẹ́mi pé gbogbo wàhálà táwọn ṣe táwọn ṣàìsùn tí gbogbo àjọ ń ṣàìsùn tẹ́yìn náà dẹ́ni ẹ bá wa ṣàìsùn ṣẹ́mi who is Amadu Bello so tá bá gbé àwọ́ọ̀dù fẹ́yìn náà nísìn so kọ́kọ́ gbé àwọ́ọ̀dù náà fún Ìgbòho kí Ìgbòho náà gbé àwọ́ọ̀dù lọ́wọ́ wọn náà torí tẹ bá ń defend àwọ́ọ̀dù yẹn àbátẹ̀rí kọ́ wá fún bàbá Akíntóyè náà láwọ́ọ̀dù ká làmọ́ àwọn tó ń gbé bọ̀ lórí don bastard ta ló ń pè ní Amadu Bello Shehu Usman Dan Fodio 15th of December 1754 ó jáde láyé ní 20 of April 1817 Uthman bin Muhammad Uthman bin Sali Haruna Muhammad Gadu Muhammad Sambo was a Fulani scholar ẹgbọ́n bíbá dáadáa yẹn ọmọ Yorùbá torí mo gbọ́ tí bàbá wa tó wà ní Belgium tẹ́ ń sọ pé káwọn èèyàn dákẹ́ yín àwọn kan máa ní ká dákẹ́ o kó ìkílẹ̀ ni o ẹ má ní ká dákẹ́ àwọn alamọ̀ tá à ń fara rọ o bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò bá ti fara rọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yóò kàn fi máa deceive wa bẹ́ẹ̀ mi náà bá deceive yín kílẹ̀ kó yọ̀ mí kílẹ̀ kó gbé mi ṣubú kí n máa lọ kò sí nǹkan tí mo ṣe láyé ọ̀rọ̀ tá gbé dání ọ̀rọ̀ life and death ni Ìgbòho nìyẹn nísìn wọ́n pààyàn méjì sínú ilé ẹ̀ òkú ní Bọ́lá Tinubu ò gbé fún wa chief mamu bá wa pariwo pé kọ́ bá wa gbókùú síta ẹ̀lẹ́ ṣe kinní kan fún yàn kan nígbà tó mú ìyẹn la fi jẹ ni ìbéèrè là ń béèrè ni pé kí ló dé tẹ́lẹ̀ upload it why did you upload it kí lẹ upload picture yẹn fún fúnra yín èdè náà àbí kí ni wọ́n ti fún yín ní frame èmi ọmọ kò sẹ́ni tó rí kí lẹ wá lọ upload ẹ̀ fún ẹ wá upload ẹ̀ tán àwa ń kọ́ọ̀lì yín out pé inter ṣe yẹn kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ẹ wá ní pé ká má sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn olè ń sọ pé kọ́ má sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn olọmọ yín tẹ́ ní kọ́ má sọ̀rọ̀ we have to call you out we will call you out and we are doing so right now so ẹ tí jáde ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ jáde kẹ́ wá ṣàlàyé fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá because the frame tẹ́gbà yẹn has a lot of meaning and that meaning is what we are analysing on a daily basis pẹ̀lú àwọn tó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ láti àná ẹ jẹ́ ká continue. arákùnrin tó ń pè ní Shehu Usman Dan Fodio was a Fulani scholar, Islamic religious teacher, a poet, a revolutionary, and a philosopher who founded the Sokoto Caliphate and the ruler of his first caliphate. After the successful revolution, the Jamal gave him the title Amir al-Mumini, the commander of the faithful. He rejected the throne and continued calling to Islam. He was born in Gobi. Usman was a descendant of Torobi clans of the urbanized ethnic Fulani people living in the Hausa kingdom since the early 1400s. Tó fi lé gbogbo àwọn tó ń pè Hausa lọ́wọ́ pa gbogbo wọn dànù. Ẹ wá ní ká dákẹ́ pé àwọ̀dì yẹn kò mean anything. It means a lot because àmọ́ bí tẹ́ wà. Because tẹ́ bá wà níbi tẹ́ wà ní ẹ̀yin lẹ́ máa jábọ̀ fún bàbá Akíntóyè because gbogbo wa ń jábọ̀ fún wọn ni. Àwọn tó believe in bàbá Akíntóyè wọ́n wò mí báyìí náà global directorate tó believe in bàbá Akíntóyè ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n wà London bí báyìí. Àwọn Yorùbá one voice wọ́n jábọ̀ fún bàbá Akíntóyè bó ṣe fi gba Yorùbá nation àndúró dé wọn. But what we are saying is that we are calling you out as a leader within the movement that has so oda ṣe nísìn kí Ìgbòho náà kó lọ gba award lọ́wọ́ àwọn Fúlàní kàwá kéwọn wá bá Ìgbòho upload ẹ̀ so káwọn yẹn máa wá question me wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ question me so if we are questioning you you gotta come out and clear yourself kò dẹ́ ṣe pé máa clear ara fún ẹ máa lọ sí Kútọ́nù ni ẹ máa lọ clear pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè àwa náà wá láti abroad now àwa náwó èmi ṣèdí láti Africa ni ó lè tí mo sí mi náà náà tàfi dé kíní àwa travel 15 hours flight láti London gbé wa dé Kútọ́nù ẹ̀yin ò lè rin 15 hours dé Kútọ́nù ìjọ wo lẹ lọ Kútọ́nù gbẹ̀yìn níjọ́ wo gan lẹ bá bàbá Akíntóyè sọ̀rọ̀ ìjọ́ wo lẹ́yìn àti bàbá Akíntóyè sọ̀rọ̀ ṣé ẹ bá bàbá Akíntóyè sọ̀rọ̀ sà kò ń ṣe pé ká wà ní group ẹ wà ní many groups a máa ń rí nínú many groups ìyẹn kọ́ la fi jẹ kí ni relationship ẹ̀yin àti bàbá Akíntóyè mo ní kí ni relationship ẹ̀yin àti Igboho because I don't have to ask that I am behind the scene so tẹ́ bá ń sọ pé relationship ẹ̀yin àti Igboho mo fìyẹn sílẹ̀ yàn ní láti wà in the public domain but relationship ẹ̀yin àti bàbá Akíntóyè kí ni relationship yín ẹ jáde kẹ́ sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá if honest you are tẹ̀dẹ̀ sọ pé wà ní Ramadan ẹ jáde kẹ́ sọ fún ẹ dẹ̀ ní láti Ramadan ò ní láti tán kẹ́ tó wá sọ̀rọ̀ kí lẹ́nu máa sọ pé Ramadan wà níta ẹ lè sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ lè sọ̀rọ̀ náà ṣé Ramadan ni kí ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ ni ẹ jáde ẹ bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ àfi gbọ́ kòdó ọ̀rọ̀ torí pé many times làwa ti defend yín many times làwọn ọmọ wa ti caution wa pé bàbá yìí nǹkan kan right gbogbo ìgbà tó bá wá and push your way ni and I've called you mo ṣe pé nínú ọdún yìí èmi àti ń ṣì sọ̀rọ̀ náà ọdún yìí pé àwọn ọmọ yìí náà wọ́n rí níbì kan wọ́n náà wà confused ẹni kò síbi tó lè pè yín sí tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ ẹ ní láti lọ sí everywhere ìkílẹ̀ fẹ́ máa lọ káàkiri fún ẹ ní láti lọ sí everywhere because àwọn tẹ́ ń lọ bá yẹn they are not for us àfi tó bá jáde tó bá sọ pé àwọn ṣe tiwa yes gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ò ní ṣe tiwa a dẹ̀ máa force gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá débẹ̀ ní bọ́fẹ́ bọ́kọ̀ tó lórí burúkú làwọn ọmọ Yorùbá míì tó máa pa gbogbo wa tán lọ́sẹ̀ máa náwọn ní tẹ̀lé wa òun ló ń pa wọn ní Àkúrẹ́ ní sinojojúmọ́ wọ́n ń pa wọn ní Ọ̀yọ́ wọ́n ń pa wọn lógùn state inflation ń pa gbogbo wa security ń pa gbogbo wa welfare ń pa gbogbo wa ṣé àmọ́ wá dọ́dọ̀ àwọn lórí burúkú àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá kan ànítorí pé wọ́n ti rẹ̀ di ṣé àbá dọ́dọ̀ àwọn yẹn àjẹkọ́ fo lórí burúkú tí wọ́n kọ́ fi kó bá wa àwọn olùdúró kọ́ fi tí wọ́n kó bá wa náà Ọláyọmí kò kìlọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ èmi àti ń sì sọ̀rọ̀ ní ọdún yìí ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ mi àti ń ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ náà ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ rẹ̀ ṣe ń bá bàbá Akíntóyè sọ̀rọ̀ ṣé mi ní ṣe máa sọ fún pé kẹgbẹ́ bàbá Akíntóyè èmi ní ṣe máa pè é pé ṣe ti pé bàbá Akíntóyè I don't have to call you èmi ní nọ́mbà bàbá Akíntóyè lọ́wọ́ tòtẹ́ bá wá sọ pé ní nọ́mbà bàbá Akíntóyè lọ́wọ́ kí ló dé tẹ́yìn òṣì ní nọ́mbà bàbá Akíntóyè lọ́wọ́ even George Akínọlá like I said èmi àti George Akínọlá sì pàdé ní Kútọ́nù ìdáhùn yẹn rí píktọ̀ yẹn kí ló dé tẹ́yìn náà ṣe wá sí Kútọ́nù àbẹ̀mọ̀ náà rí mi ní Kútọ́nù ẹ ṣáà rí mi ní Kútọ́nù. arákùnrin tá à ń pè ní Amadu Bello yìí tí fọ́nrán tá à ń wò tí gbogbo wa rí fọ́nrán yẹn Amadu Bello gbogbo wa la rí píkṣọ̀ Amadu Bello ta ni wọ́n ń pè ní Amadu Bello irú èèyàn wo gangan lòun Amadu Bello ta ni èèyàn tó ń pè ní Amadu Bello Sir Amadu Bello famously known as the Sardana of Sokoto was a conservative Nigerian statesman who was one of the leading northern politicians in 1960 and he served as his first and the only premier from 1954 until his assassination in 1966. Wọ́n ṣe gbé picture bàbá wo lọ́wọ́ kan gbé síbẹ̀ kan gbé wá fún yín. Ẹ̀rù pa àwọn tó gbé wá ẹ̀rù pé wọ́n mọ tán ṣe ni wọ́n mọ tán ṣe. Tẹ́ bá ti ṣiṣẹ́ dáadáa lóòótọ́ nínú Yorùbá nation. Tẹ́yìn bá wá jẹ́ ẹni tó honest. Nígbà tá a ti jọ gbogbo wájọ everybody was doing different things. Nígbà tí Yorùbá nation dé a lot of us started falling out of many things tá à ń ṣe. Èmi ò mọjọ́ tẹ̀mí ti dé Nigerian embassy gbẹ̀yìn ni. The last time tí mo lọ was when I went to renew my passport. That's when I went there. Mo lọ renew passport ni. I have no more business there. And I had access to the embassy on a daily basis. Nígbà tí mo wà nínú Nigerian community. Ẹ rò pé mi náà lè máa wọnú embassy lọ kó di pé mi àtàwọn PDP kájọ máa lọ jókòó kájọ máa lọ lábẹ́. Ẹ rò pé àwọn tó ń ṣe APC PDP ní London ni. Àwọn tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ PDP kan tó fọ́mọ̀ mi dáadáa. Tẹ́yẹ pé ti bá pè wọ́n nísìn lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ lọ́ máa ní kí n máa bọ̀. We kept away from every one of them. Àwọn tá a bá lè bá sọ̀rọ̀ kan bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ but far away. Kí APC wá pè mí nísìn káwọn náà fún mi láwọ́ọ̀dì kí mo wá gbé yẹn sórí social media àwọn èèyàn ní question mi pé mélòó ló ń ṣe ń bẹ̀ Koiki ìwọ kan náà ló ń pariwo Yorùbá nation ìwọ kan náà ló tún ṣe APC ṣó make sense ṣó máa ṣe ẹ̀ make sense àwọn àtàlejò ọmọ kékeré gan sẹ ṣé PDP lè fún mi láwọ́ọ̀dì nísìn kí wọ́n á gbé sórí social media àbí kémi tẹ̀ gbà wọ́ọ̀dì lọ́wọ́ wọn kọ́ wá gbé picture Àtíkù lórí burúkú tèmi bú lójoojúmọ́ àbí kọ́ gbé picture Tinubu kí wọ́n gbé picture Tinubu kí wọ́n fi ya picture kí wọ́n ní ọmọ wa ni kì í ṣe dìbẹ́ wọ́n pẹ́ kí díẹ̀ kó já dànù àdúrà tèmi ni pé kí díẹ̀ kó já dànù náà ni torí pé a sọkun títí wàhálà dẹ̀ ń bọ̀ wàhálà tó kó rẹ̀ sí problem tiẹ̀ nìyẹn kò dẹ̀ sẹ́ni kankan tó máa bá bẹ̀bẹ̀ ní tó bá wọn àwọn ọmọ Rivers State ní kọ́ ṣe fún Tinubu so this is the message fún ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ sọ pé ká fi chief man sílẹ̀ fi chief man sílẹ̀ torí investment náà lọ lórí chief man bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe invest lórí èmi náà ẹ̀ invest lórí chief man bẹ́ẹ̀ gbádùn gbogbo tó bá dẹ̀ sọ lórí chief man yes kò sí ìtì mo mọ̀ lẹ́yìn bẹ́ẹ̀ so kí ni ọ̀kankan máa jáde kó máa sọ fún wa pé ká shut up gbogbo ìyá wa I respect yín ẹ má kájọ wojú ara wa torí ibi tá a dé life tèmi wà at stake lórí movement èmi mo mọ tí mo fara rọ so kí ni ọ̀kankan máa jáde kí ni ọ̀kankan máa pè mí chief man ẹ ní láti pè mí ẹ lọ sí Kútọ́nù kẹ lọ yanjú ẹ tẹ bá ti yanjú ẹ ní Kútọ́nù then kẹjọ ṣe press statement pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè ká mọ bí tẹ dúró sí because a ti wà ní ojú agbami la wà àdẹ̀rín and calling you out ni, and we have the right to call you out because you're a leader. So kí n kọ́ máa pè mí lẹ́yìn program pé kó ìkà àwọn tẹ́ bá pè máa báǹkì fọ́ọ̀nù wọn létí ni o, mo trust anybody, mo sọ fún yín o, mo trust anybody yàtọ̀ sí mọ́sí mi àti ìyàwó mi àti Igboho àti bàbá Akíntóyè. I don't trust anybody because èmi ni mo mọ tí mo fara rọ, mo trust anybody o, anybody lè gbàbọ̀dẹ̀ fún mi o, anybody lè pa mi o, ẹ̀ fún mi lówó yàn mí lẹ́ni tí o. Ìtàgbé dání is about life and death. Àwa dẹ̀ ti sign. Mo ṣeré pẹ̀lú movement yìí o, yíyan kan máa rò pé mo ṣeré o, mo ṣeré, èmi ò ṣeré pẹ̀lú àwọn ìyàwó mi mọ́ mi o, mo sọ fún wọn categorically ni, mo ṣeré pẹ̀lú movement yìí o. Ẹ̀bá àwọn tó ń ṣeré pẹ̀lú movement, àwọn ọlọ́run ṣeré, àwọn ọlọ́mọ tó ṣe. Èmi fẹ́ kí Yorùbá kó lọ, ní tó bá dẹ̀ gbà ní kó máa gbà. Mo ti sọ, mọ̀ sí mi ò láì kí máa sọ, mo tó bá fẹ́ dogun kó dogun. Ẹni máa kú ló máa kú, ẹni tó máa yè ló máa yè. Tinubu ọ̀dẹ̀ lè fi wá, kò lè hold wa responsible pé ká má kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. Wọ́n bí bá bẹ́ẹ̀ dání mo sọ. Is either we dialogue or we go with war. Ìkànnì méjèèjì ni, kọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá lọ gún ẹ dáadáa. Àṣeré o, ọ̀rọ̀ eré kọ́ là ń ṣe lórí platform o. Ẹ̀ ń bá àwọn tó àwọn family Arẹwà ẹ̀ ń bá wọn ya picture. Àwọn Arẹwà tó ń takò Yorùbá nation, àwọn Arẹwà tó ń bú wa, àwọn Arẹwà ṣèbí Gumi ló ń sọ fún wa pé terrorist ní sìn. Ẹ̀yin ò ṣe jáde nísìn kẹ́ àtàkì Gumi. Ẹ̀yin ò ṣe jáde kẹ́ àtàkì Gumi pé Gumi ó ṣe lè máa pa wá Yorùbá ní terrorist. And I hope that you will do that because àti sọ fún yín nísìn ẹ kọ́kọ́ tẹ̀ jáde kẹ́ àtàkì wọn láàárọ̀ la. Ẹ ṣe fídíò jáde pé Gumi tó ń pè wá ní terrorist ọmọ àlè nìyẹn. Káwọ bí alóòótọ́ ni ẹ tẹ̀ ń bá wa ṣe Yorùbá nation wọn sef. Amadu Bello, àwọn Arẹwà kí ni àjọṣepọ̀ wọn? Gbogbo ìgbà ni wọ́n attack Yorùbá nation. Tàbá ti sọ pé nǹkan kan báyìí olórí burúkú ọmọ Tinubu gan wọ́n attack ẹ̀ ọ̀dẹ̀ kò ní làákàyè àtẹ̀rò pé yẹn káwé ni tí bàbá ẹ̀ bá tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé kò ní skọ́n lórí ṣèbó yẹ kó wọn tẹ̀ ní làákàyè ẹ̀ ń lo the same template ẹ̀ ń kó rẹ̀ sí ẹ̀ ń lọ́nkọ fún wọn ní north ẹ̀ ń kó rẹ̀ sí ẹ̀ lọ́nkọ fún wọn ní north ẹ̀ rò pé àwọn ará north is stupid táwọn ọmọ Yorùbá bá stupid àwọn ará north ò stupid. Ẹni tán fún baba Chief Imam láwọ̀d ẹ gbọ́ article tó jáde this was ẹ̀kú journalist làwa àwa máa fún yín ní fact ilé ìṣe pé àwọn attack wọn à ń sọ fact ni kí yẹn ọkọ má pè mí mo ti sọ fún yín nísìnyí o is either you watch it and you digest it or you leave me alone. Tẹ́ bá fún mi àṣìmàgbà tẹ́ bá fún wa mọ́ bó jẹ́ ìyàwó mi ni màá ní kó yá mi lówó ticket pé mo ní délé yẹn rọlẹ̀ pa ẹ máa délé mò ń bọ̀ bó jẹ́ kí n sọ fún Ìgbòho náírà ticket màá máa lọlé ní Vanguard newspaper ti mò ń bọ̀ 2021 Arẹwà youth tí Chief Imam náà fáwọn láwọ́d ní 5 years ago ẹ jẹ́ ká play back 5 years ago was when èyí tẹ́ mo máa ṣẹ̀ṣáré fún mi ní figure 5 years ago was when tàbá sọ pé 5 years ago when was 5 years ago 5 years ago will be 2020 kátẹ sọ pé 2019 ambọ̀sibọ̀sí 2020 so Chief Imam claim pé 5 years ago lọ fáwọn láwọ́d àbí àwọn èèyàn wá fún yín láwọ́d ní 2020 in a genuine way kátẹ sọ pé genuinely it's okay èèyàn lè gbà pé ẹ lè má ní understanding ẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá wa ṣe ń ṣàlàyé báyìí nísìnyí the same àwọn olórí burúkú Arẹwà wọ́n wá sọ fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá wọ́n ránṣẹ́ sí wa ní 2021 March 19 article yẹn wà lórí Vanguard and this is the headline Arẹwà youth gave Igboho ultimatum to move Yorùbá out of the north. Ẹ gba award lọ́wọ́ wọn ní 5 years ago ẹ̀yin dẹ̀ tọ́jú award yẹn sínú ilé àwọn ọmọ ẹ lè sọ pé ẹ̀gbọ́n nígbà yẹn nígbà tí because gbogbo any message táwọn Arẹwà bá fi attack wa la fi ń jáde la fi ń attack wọn padà ǹjẹ́ yìí jáde lẹ attack wọn padà ní 2021 yìí pé àwa tá n campaign fún Yorùbá nation ẹ̀ ń sọ fún wa pé àbí kò fi da fún gbogbo yín ni ká pa gbogbo yín dànù kẹ́yìn jáde bẹ́ẹ̀ kẹ́ ṣọmọkọ ẹ̀ dákẹ́ ó wá di 2025 ẹ̀ wá lọ sórí TikTok yín ṣé mi mo bá yín upload ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́ upload ẹ̀ fúnra yín because ìyá wa kan pè mí lálẹ́ wọn náà sọ pé ilẹ̀ upload ẹ̀ fúnra yín ẹ̀ sọ nígbà tẹ́ upload ẹ̀ yẹn ṣùgbọ́n tẹ́ upload ẹ̀ yẹn ẹ̀ rí pé tẹ́ fẹ́ upload yẹn kò ń ṣe nǹkan tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú Yorùbá nation ṣé yẹn ní ṣe pẹ̀lú Yorùbá nation. Arẹwà youth gave Igboho ultimatum to move Yoruba out of the north by Ibrahim Hassan Wuye. This was March 19, 2021, 1 year after the Igba award. The Arewa Youth Assembly has said that since Sunday Igboho has declared Yoruba nation, saying they will no longer accommodate and accept the president of the Northerners, he should in the next 72 hours evacuate his people from the north or they will help him in doing so. In a statement signed by Muhammadu Saliu Danlami Omofulani under the Arewa auspice, Arewa Youth Assembly níjọ́ Jímọ̀ lọ́nà máa ń issue àwọn ìjọ́ Jímọ̀ lọ́ máa ń pass message tiwọn ẹ̀yin náà rẹ̀ jáde níjọ́ Jímọ̀ kẹsàn-án pé kò ní da fún wọn ní sóríire ẹ̀yin dákẹ́ ẹ̀ wá náà ń pè yín nísàn à ń pè yín no ṣé ká fi yín sílẹ̀ gbogbo táwọn ọmọ yẹn sọ nísìn ṣé kò ti play out àlùkà pè mí títí màá ní káwọn ọmọ yẹn shut up wọ́n sì pè mí nínú ọdún yìí gbogbo wọn thank you Jesus every one of them bàbá Koiki kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ àríṣìfù máa pẹ̀lú àwọn kan kò yé wa kí báwọn dúpẹ́ ní tìrìṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ní sìn ta ló dá sọ́rọ̀ wọn tẹ́tà kúkú mọ̀ pé ẹ̀fẹ̀ bá bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe ẹ sọ fún wa pé ẹ̀fẹ̀ bá bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe àmọ́ pé yìí náà dá dúró ẹ̀ ń ṣe Yorùbá nation ti yín Victor Taiwo bá bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe ó dẹ̀ lọ òun ṣàlọ́ rí bàbá Akíntóyè at some point kò bá bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe àìmọ́ àwọn tó bá bàbá Akíntóyè ṣe bọ̀bọ̀ ṣe fẹ́ gba country làwọn dúró ẹni tó bá bí bá ẹ̀dá kẹ́ nìṣó nílé nínú gbogbo ẹni tẹ́ ń sọ pé ń ṣe Yorùbá nation ẹni tó bá bí fàdé ẹ̀dá ẹ̀ nìṣó ní Nàìjíríà ẹ̀ tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹni tó bá bíbá bẹ́ẹ̀ dánú gbogbo yín mo ní dárúkọ ìyá yín ẹni tó bá bíbá bẹ́ẹ̀ dá tẹ́lẹ̀ ṣe Yorùbá nation bẹ́ẹ̀ dúró ti bàbá Akíntóyè ẹnì sónílé kájọ pàdé ní Nàìjíríà torí àwọn bọ̀ nílé kò sẹ́ni tó máa dá wa dúró èmi àti Igboho ń bọ̀ kù díẹ̀ ẹ̀ ní kúure one bastard ẹni ṣe Yorùbá nation jókòó sínú group ẹ̀ jókòó sínú kákúkú mọ̀ pé iná bá wa ṣe bọ̀kẹ́ wa máa deceive wa ẹ wà pẹ̀lú Igboho ẹ wà pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè ẹ wà pẹ̀lú bàbá Akíntóyè bàbá Akíntóyè sọ̀rọ̀ ìyàwó bàbá Akíntóyè kú ẹ wá sí òkú bàbá ìyàwó wọn àbí bí àmọ́ orí yín àbí ẹ̀yin tí mi ṣe rí chief máa mú bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe bá wa tẹ́tẹ̀ ráṣọ́ṣá ṣe ra nkárá ẹ̀yin diaspora mẹ́rin kí wọ́n kó fún yín ní ẹni pressure kọ́kàn ẹ fọkàn yín balẹ̀ a wà lórí ìrìnàjò tó dá láwà kò dẹ̀ sẹ́ni tó máa dàrú ní last minute ẹ túbọ̀ máa fàdúrà tiwa lọ́wọ́ ẹ máa fàdúrà ẹ máa fi kíṣọ Ọlọ́run kó máa ṣọ́ gbogbo wa Ọlọ́run ló ń ṣẹ́ mi àti Ìgbòho ló ń ṣọ́ gbogbo wa àtẹ̀yìntẹ̀ ń comment àtẹ̀yìntẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa àmàdélẹ̀ lè rí mo ní Tinubu ò lè dá wa dúró ìsídà ká negotiate àbí kájọ fà kọ́ra máa pàdé lẹ̀ bàbá Adéníran ní sì ti lọ lórí burúkú yẹn olórí mo tẹ̀rí picture tí màá tiẹ̀ tẹ ọjà tó wá sí ilé Ìgbòho 4 years ago mo post ẹ̀ láti pé gbogbo ilẹ̀ rí Adéníran lórí àṣewò táyì tó ń bá wa ṣe yẹn àṣebọ́n bá ó yẹ kí ti dá sídìí sí lórí nígbà yẹn ni pé kó ti kú dànù ká jòkó ẹ̀ fáwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ kọ́ máa gbókù ẹ̀ lọ́kọ́ lọ sí wèrè dànù àṣẹ olórí burúkú èèyàn ni Adéníran èmi ò tí ì bóyá ṣífù máa mo pè é ní o pé àwọn Arewa tẹ̀yìn sọ yẹn ní March 19 2021 wọ́n ránṣẹ́ sí Ìgbòho tàwa Ìgbòho tó fẹ́ pa lẹ́yìn wọ́n sọ nísìnyí pé ká dákẹ́ Ìgbòho tó ń gbé ní Kútọ́nù ṣé Kútọ́nù wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ilé Ìgbòho ẹ ṣáà kí n ra dákẹ́ báyìí náà ṣé Kútọ́nù wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ilé Ìgbòho nígbà tó tẹ̀ mú Ìgbòho ìjẹ́ tẹ̀ lọ́yọjú wò rárá mo ń béèrè ní oṣù fún máa ìjẹ́ yìí tẹ̀ láǹfààní àti lọ́yọjú wò Ìgbòho ní Kútọ́nù àbẹ́kọ̀ ń ṣàdúrà fún láti lọ́rin bẹ́ẹ̀ nígbà tó mú ṣe Sunday Ìgbòho ìjẹ́ tẹ̀ lọ sí Kútọ́nù rárá torí mo rò pé mo gbọ́ pé wá bí a mọ̀ dẹ̀ bí a bá tún bèèrè lọ́wọ́ ṣífù ìjẹ́ yìí lọ Délé Mọ̀mọ́dù gan tí mo lẹ́ǹkan kan ti máa ń tẹ̀sẹ̀ gbọ́n mi lójú mo ní nọ́mbà Délé Mọ̀mọ́dù lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa ni Délé Mọ̀mọ́dù travel to Benin Republic ó tún ya pépà gan fún Ìgbòho ẹ̀yin wa náà bá wa ṣe Yorùbá nation ìyàwó lídà wa kú ẹ̀yin ò wá sí Kútọ́nù wá kí wọn àwọn diaspora dé ma bẹ́ẹ̀ bá pe Sami Japan á fún yín lówó tẹ́ ma fi dé Kútọ́nù mo mọ orí èèyàn tó jẹ́ tẹ́ bá pe Sami Japan pé mo fi dé Kútọ́nù á send owó sí yẹn dé Kútọ́nù ẹ wọ plane gan ni ẹni wọ mọ́tò ìyàwó bàbá yẹn kú ṣó dà bẹ́ẹ̀ torí èmi ò gbọ́ pé ẹ wá sí Kútọ́nù bàbá yẹn tún wá àwa tún gbé bàbá yẹn agbedekiti ẹ̀yin ò tún wá sékìtì ó kù díẹ̀ o so. In a statement, because I want to go back to Sheikh Gumi Olori Buruku, and I'm working with the time, he let it show mommy soon. So, yeah, me there no on soon. In a statement signed by Muhammad Saliu Dalami, Speaker, Arewa Youth Assembly, issued on Friday, the youth described as unfortunate that Sunday Igboho would, at a press conference, be quoted as saying enough is enough, that the time for Yoruba nation is now, and he will no longer accommodate and accept the president of the Northerners. The Baranti, this was when I was in Nigeria in April. Nígbà tá a ṣe wà pẹ̀lú àwọn Ninas. Ẹ wò gbà yín tó bá yẹ pé gbogbo àti forward àti support àti lọ. Olórí burúkú kìíní ò bá tẹ̀ máa láǹfààní àti wọlé sí wa lára náà dúpọ̀ ní tìrì ní 2021. Ìgbòho náà máa lọ sí bọ́dà ìlàlàlà olólólólólóló. Ẹnu ẹni gbogbo àjọ wà báyìí nísìn. Bọ̀ Ọlọ́run kò wá yọ. Àṣìṣe ni Tinubu wa máa ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn tó kù táwa máa fi lọ́n ti wa. Torí àṣìṣe tó fẹ́ mú yẹn òun ló ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nísìn pẹ̀lú Rivers State àwọn èèyàn fojú ẹ̀wọ̀n ṣége bánsání ó kù díẹ̀ so chief man ẹ̀yin lẹ́ni section ní fídíò tí mo ṣe and everything I said èmi kọ́ lè máa respond sí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ní kẹ́ respond sí bọ́ẹ̀ lọ sí Kútọ́nù kẹ́ lọ bá bàbá Akíntóyè bàbá Akíntóyè ràn wá ń ṣe o I am a journalist I am one of those fighting for this cause ẹ̀yin náà life yìí wà at stake àmọ̀ yẹn life tèmi gan náà wà at stake it doesn't matter whether mo wà nílé mo sí nílé àìmọ̀ ṣe Saudi Arabia ọ̀pá journalist wọn sí Turkey ni inú embassy lọ pa sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni inú embassy lọ pa sí when I was going to the embassy tẹ́ẹ̀ bá gbọ́ lé ní Igboho did not want me to go mo ní kò lè sí kankan tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ Igboho ní tí kò bá ṣẹlẹ̀ ó máa dé UK within 12 hours ó pẹ́ jù nǹkan á bàjẹ́ nígbà tí mo lọ sí embassy Igboho ní kí n má lọ mo ní má lọ onítọ́ bá mú mi sílẹ̀ ńbẹ́ yẹn onírẹ́rẹ́ máa ń rún ẹ̀yà fi tó kù sílẹ̀ ẹ̀ ní sóríire ẹ̀rọ bá ń ṣeré ni ṣe take care ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa ń sọ kábàkábà táwa kan bá gbé life wa sórí ìtagbé dání àfi ṣeré o tàbá wa ṣe program tá a sọ dé fẹ̀ níjọ́ mi ilé kọ́là ń ṣe o Yorùbá nation is serious gan wọ́n pààyàn méjì sínú ilé Igboho wọ́n lé bàbá yẹn kúrò nínú ilé láti 3 years Igboho lè má fẹ́ dánú ilé ẹ̀ mọ́ mo dé sókà yẹn báyìí mo sunkún sójú ni mo dé sókà máa fi ìtókù sílẹ̀ mo sunkún ni pé inú ilé Igboho lórí báyìí kò ṣe pé kò wọ́ òkè o ẹ má get me wrong o but imagine ilé ọlọ́lá ilé olówó wà níta ẹ ní kúure gbogbo ẹ̀yin politicians yẹn ẹ má pè Tinubu kájọ divide Nigeria ẹ ní kúure ni mo sọ fún yín mo wo ilé yẹn báyìí 2021 ni mo wọnú ilé yẹn gbẹ̀yìn mo dénú ilé yẹn ní eléyìí tí mo lọ sí Nigeria yìí mo kàn wo gbogbo ẹ̀ báyìí pé what the fuck olówó wá jókòó sí Kútọ́nù Patrick Talon thank you so much President Patrick Talon once again thank you so much for standing against the truth, for accepting the truth that Igboho is not a criminal and giving him the privilege to still remain in Benin. No, ibo ni Igboho Obama wa. Sako wa ní Germany, ẹ mọ̀ pé òtútù yẹn pọ̀ lẹ́ǹkan tó bá fi wálé kò ní wá síbi tó máa dé sí. Ṣé Ghana ló máa lọ? Ẹ imagine tó bá yẹ pé Benin Republic will accept pé ká wà níbẹ̀. Ìlérè kò ṣe padà lọ. So, the only intermediary is Benin Republic. Mo kí President Talon gan. And I still owe you many videos to congratulate you and say thank you so much. Because the Fulani is the same Arewa people. Tí bàbá Igba award lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Ó náà pààyàn ọmọ Yorùbá ó náà pé àtàbá ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ máa rò pé àsọdùn là ń sọ. The same Arewa tó fẹ́ pa Igboho ni Chief Mamu gba award lọ́wọ́ wọn. Ẹ wá ní ká dákẹ́. No, a máa dákẹ́. Part 1 lélẹ̀. Ó náà pé mo rí pé àwọn tó kú part 2 sí wa. Part 10 a lè gbé dé part 10. Mo kí gbogbo ẹlẹ́nkan sí. Ó yí kí mi dà ló ń sọ̀rọ̀. Ẹ bá mi pín ọ́díò yẹn. Ẹ bá mi gbé kó dọ́dọ̀ ṣífù máa fúnra wọn èmi ò ní láti sẹ́ndẹ̀ sí wọn kó wà lọ́dọ̀ wọn kẹ́ bá ń sẹ́ndẹ̀ sí wọn Ọláyọmí Kóìkì ni mo jẹ́.